Episode 62, your unmuzzled sport talk, focusing on the business of sports. If you are joining us live, you could be on YouTube, you could be on Twitter, you could be on Facebook. Of course, it is 8:44 Eastern time. We always talk in Eastern time because the West Coast time does not exist. Pacific Standard Time does not exist. It's a myth. Nobody lives on the other side of the Mississippi, out west. It's just not a thing. So appreciate you all, of course, for taking a listen to us. If you're listening to us on one of the glorious podcast platforms, we hope that you will take a second, give us a rating, give us 5 stars. We'd really appreciate to continue to grow this fantastic show, which again is on episode 62. I can't believe that we're way more we are well over the 50 mark to get into episode 100 when David Turner finally sends me a gold watch. I am Ryan Roberts, the creator of RiseandDraft.com, joined, of course, the owner of Maverick Sports Consulting, 18-year scouting vet across the NFL, CFL, and 3 straight Arena League championships with the Arizona Rattlers. A resume that is longer than the list that Santa Claus gets for Christmas for kids. So, David Turner, how are you, my friends? I know we had some technical issues to start, but it is good to see you on this fine Tuesday evening.
Yeah, no, it's great to see you too. I'm excited about being here. Obviously, we got some great guests lined up for everybody. So let's get to it. We're a little late. We had a little technical difficulty, but now we're rocking and rolling, baby.
We are, man. And like you said, we have a couple great interviews lined up. We're going to be joined by Darren Brewer in a second. He's the CEO of Redline Fundraising, which David is doing some work with. Want to get some insights into this fundraising business that he is a part of. He's also a part of a World Series of Baseball winning team, Lewis Clark State. I think he has, David, was it his son or was it his nephew that is a part of Washington State baseball team right now? What was it?
Football team, the Washington State football team and track team right now.
And track. That's what I was thinking.
It's his nephew. It's his nephew.
Yes,
yeah.
It's his nephew. It is the track team, which I love track and field. Been a long-time coach for track and field and football. Want to dive a lot into that one. And then, of course, we have Mr. Cole Turner, who is a tight end wide receiver out of the University of Nevada. Carson Strong's go-to guy this past weekend, David. 12 catches, 175 yards, and their 34-17 victory over University of Hawaii. Want to dig deep into his performance and just the season so far for the 5-1 Nevada Wolfpack. Before we do, would you be a parent of a high school athlete trying to make it to the next level? If you answered yes, then why not secure coaching for them from an expert? Here at Maverick Sports Consulting, we work with high school athletes of all sports to create a strategy for their recruitment process. With limited scholarships given each and every year, having a pointed recruiting plan helps our clients secure their opportunity to play collegiate sports. We focus on your transcripts, your film, your leadership, and more to set your goals and create pathways to get to them. Whether you're looking to attend an SEC school or Slippery Rock University, we can support your efforts to get to those goals for 2022. Contact us at Maverick Sports Consulting today. So like I said, David, we're going to roll right into our first interview. A friend of yours, we're welcoming now to the show, Mr. Darren Brewer, again, CEO of Redline Fundraising. Darren, had some technical difficulties, but excited to have you on. How are you, my man?
Good. I'm excited to be here with you guys. This is cool. I'm glad you had me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Darren, the best way to start this interview is tell us a little bit about Redline Fundraising. And then obviously we want to go deep into the business side of everything and exactly what you guys do.
Yeah, we founded Redline Fundraising around 10 years ago. I've been in the fundraising industry, mainly high school sports. We do youth and some middle school, but the bulk of it has been at the high school level. We were doing all kinds of the traditional fundraising like beef jerky, popcorn, cookie dough sales, gold cards. The gold card business, a lot of people don't know this, but it funds about 80% of the high school football sports programs. That's what buys all the equipment, and most of the schools do not give the programs enough money. So that's why, there's a need there for a niche company like us. About 2.5 years ago, we built a donation platform, and so we no longer use any products. It's strictly a platform where kids, we use cell phones for texting, and kids, their homework is 25 good cell phone numbers of people they think would help support them. And then we build a master text in their phone they copy and paste that master text out to their 25 cell phone numbers, and it's kind of magical. Within 3 to 5 minutes, the donations start coming in of them texting, and we bring monitors in. The kids get to watch it. It's fun. It's 50 minutes. We call it the 1 hour event. It goes for 30 days, but most of the income, most of the money is brought in the first 3 days because it's cell phones. It's not emails.
That's awesome.
So that's kind of a quick peek of it, of kind of how it works.
And I would love to dig deeper, Darren, because I've actually been a high school football and track and field coach for 8 years. And I have been, especially early on in, my coaching career, is, I always used to remember these discount cards, right? Like we would give to the kids, they would sell. How much foresight went into this expansion away from products into the technological age? I feel like it just makes so much sense. Kids are always on their cell phones anyway, so let's make it to good use in this environment.
Well, we have quite a few competitors, but most of the competitors that came into the business, they're emails, and so now we're kind of, technology moves along, and a lot of your high school kids, they don't really even have emails. So we looked at all the competitors that have been out there for 6-7 years. They're very successful. They've made a lot of money for a lot of student athletes. But we just said, hey, look, how can we do this better? How can we make it faster? And that's kind of what we've done. We built a platform based on what they've done, but then we've improved it in a lot of different ways. One is cell phones. It's easier for the kids to get cell phone numbers than emails. Two is because 85% of the money gets raised in the first 3 days, we cut a check on the 4th day. So the coach has a check in hand, around that 8 or 9 day period, where all the email platforms, most of them don't get paid for that for over 50 days. A lot of it's 60 days out. So especially with this pandemic, with COVID, and a lot of people have missed raising funds for maybe the last 2 years. It's important that we get money in their hands right away. And now, I was talking with David a couple days ago, the garment, industry is backed up. And so now, uniform, everything is just taking way longer than what it should. So that's why it's important that we get, money in coaches' hands as soon as possible. To kind of go back, I kind of went around your question a little bit. The gold card business, to be honest with you, the discount cards, which you're familiar with, that was the bulk of our business for the last, not 2 years, but before that, previous 8 years. That was probably 80% of our income was based on football gold cards that we did. And so what's kind of exciting now, it's a transition. And this year we ran quite a few football teams. And I'll just give you a quick sample. One football team in particular, basically the best they'd ever made profit was about $14,000 with the gold card. And I convinced them, hey, let's do this. Let's do it bigger and better. We don't need the gold card. And we raised over $30,000, which their profit was somewhere around the $25,000, $26,000 range, which, I mean, they flipped out over it. They were like, this is unbelievable. And it's so simple. It's easy. We're not asking kids to go out on the street, sell gold cards for 5 or 6 hours to get 20 sold. Basically what we're asking them to do is get 25 good cell phone numbers of people that they think would help support them. And they can reach out to their mom, their dad, their grandparents, aunt and uncle, siblings to help them with that 25 cell phone list.
And I'm so jealous, I must say, because not only just being a coach, but I remember being a high school athlete and having to go door to door with these cards. And I mean, I was not like the most outgoing kid in the world, because I was like, oh my God, I got to go up to and ask these people. I was like trying to pawn them off to my parents. Like, hey, can you take these to work? Like, I don't want these anymore. I'm so jealous of these kids now, man. They have no idea how easy they have it. They just throw out their cell phone, and it's crazy.
It's so much easier, and it makes so much more money. One of the things that I'll kind of, in particular, just point out is like you said you sold gold cards. The price point now is $20 or $25. Most people are moving to a $25 price point card. The thing is you go to a doorstep and they'll buy one card, and that's great. But with our donation platform, our average donation, when you average poor schools, rich schools, whatever, we're looking at somewhere between $53 to $65 as an average donation. So right there, we're 3 times in that same. You knocked on a door, got a gold card sell. Well, that sell now is 3 cells. So it's just that's why we make more money. It's easier for everybody involved.
And what I really like when I got involved in this company was because the heart of it what Darren and Locke, his partner, have really brought into it was this great heart to support and make sure that, you know, kids have equipment, uniforms, everything, ability to, you know, be able to play and have sports. And they also do cheer and dance, and they have bands and stuff. So it's all about kids having the extracurriculars that when I grew up, the ability to go play. So, you know, I was really excited when we got on board with each other and we were able to um, pair this up and move forward with one another, because it was really exciting to know that the heart of this company is really about helping kids continue to play sports, band, you know, acting, whatever needs funding. They can help do that. And, you know, while, yeah, we make, you know, the company makes a little profit off of it, it's still the bulk of the money, like Darren said, goes to the different individuals within 3 to 4 days. And then it's all about, you know, getting the money to the coaches so they can get the money to the vendors and go from there.
And I like that it's a little more authentic, to be honest with you, too. It's because I know, Darren, you already mentioned it. It's like, you know, you take a card you take the card to the doorstep. Every family's just going to buy one card, right? I think it's a more natural, more authentic thing, though, to be honest, when you go to a door, or not when you go to a door, when you reach out to someone and say, like, hey, this is a donation. This is going right back. Because I remember, like, some people would be like, they would look at the card, they'd be like, I don't want to go to Domino's, you know, like I don't go to this store, I don't go to that store. And it seems like, kind of, for me anyway, it was unauthentic to a degree, because it's like you're buying these products, but the real cause of everything and the real support that you're giving is directly to these programs. So I think it's fantastic that you're now bridging that gap and making it more of an authentic approach to help these student athletes and helping these programs to make money, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I kind of add to that, you know, the thing is with the gold card discount business, you know, I was putting my name on stuff. So I wasn't going to put anything out there that didn't have real value. But the reality is we only had about a 5% retention rate. So they didn't really get used. So what's nice, and there's cost in there, there's fixed costs that you can't get around. Now we go around that. You know, our fixed cost is, you know, we're a company, this is what we do, we bring it to you. But, you know, we have credit card processing, and then we take, you know, we have reps. And so we pay our reps for helping people. But the more money is getting into the pockets of the coaches so they can, you know, do what they need to do to help the program. So.
And how big is the company now gotten? Is this still like a regionalized basis?
We're a very, very small company. You know, we're basically open in 6 states. Soon, you know, our goal is our 12-month goal is to get into 25 total states. And then hopefully, you know, within the 24 months, we want to be in, have a rep in every state. We're very, very small. So we're doing, you know, next year, the projection is we'll probably hit 10 million in donations, which is, you know, when you spread that out, it sounds big, but, you know, we're still small. That's a pretty small company. Most of our reps will, you know, within 12 months, we'll get to 1 million in volume. So we're talking about 10 reps doing 1 million in volume. We'll have a few more than that to get 10 million, but, you know, that's kind of a little bit of the plan. So.
Well, David, let me ask you a question, because I think there's a lot of layers. Obviously, this is something that you have talked to Darren a lot about and that you have expressed interest in. For you, in your opinion, what makes this company and this model so attractive to want to get involved in, and obviously the great things that they're doing for these teams and these athletes?
What makes it the most attractive is the ability to use cell phones, that technology, and get right to. So it's not like, you know, Johnny's going to grandma and saying, "Grandma, buy cookie dough or buy popcorn or whatever." And, you know, like you said, they're not going to eat the cookie dough or the popcorn. They're just doing it to help the kid out.
Yeah.
So you're just, you know, now it's just like, hey, their technology is just so streamlined. You get a text from Johnny or Joey or Tiffany or whomever from their cell phone. So the company Redline never captures the information. They don't resell the information. They're not looking to line their pockets like other companies do in this realm with you know, subsequent selling off of, you know, the cell phone numbers or the emails or what have you. They're just like, no, this is coming straight from Johnny or Jenny's phone, and it's like, hey, click this link, donate to this program. And as soon as they click the link, it goes straight to the individual schools program, page, their landing page. So it's not like you're thumbing through a bunch of, other schools and trying to find it and no, it's unique. It's absolutely unique. So if your football team or your cheer team, it goes right to that page. And now that you go right to that page, it makes it streamlined for them to pick a donation amount, put it in, plug in a Venmo or their platinum card or what have you, and then run it, and boom, it's done. And like Darren said, we run a team, the Redline runs a team building event as this is happening. So as soon as they, it takes about, I think he told me, correct me if I'm wrong, Darren, but he said it takes about, most kids, 25, texts take about 10 to 15 minutes. And then it gives the coach and the group of Redline employees the ability to now spend 45 minutes team building, running the event, bring Gatorade, candy, run some games with them, and then the tote board monitors going. So as people are starting to run it, the numbers are starting to come in over that hour. You see the tote board and it's filling up. And then it also gives some back end support where the coaches can go into the back end and run off a report daily to see who's been getting their parents and their donations in. And it's like, you can go to Joey. Hey, Joey, you only got 3 people to donate. Can you maybe reach back out to them and, shoot them another text? Or, hey, Tiffany, you're doing a great job. You got 10 of your 25. That was great. That was our goal for you. And you already hit it. It's only day 4. Maybe some more will come in over the month, try to work them a little bit, and therefore, boom, there's some back end support so the coaches can, again, it's a month-long campaign, but 80 to 85% of the money comes in within the first 4 days. So they cut the check and it gets to the coach right away. And then they sum up at the end of the month, they close out the account, whatever's left over, whatever come in goes back out. So I love the streamline effect. I love, again, the heart of it, because they're not capturing the information at all. And they're really, just using it for the benefit of each individual program. And at one school, you can help, like 7 or 8, 9 sports plus band plus cheer. And, that's just such a good feeling to know that when you walk off that campus, those programs have been serviced in the best of your ability and with a clean product to capture as much money as they need to maybe take that big trip to DC or compete in a dance competition or go to Texas for a cheer competition or something that they might not have been able to fund before. Because again, these districts are so strapped for cash. These programs have been cut back on what they can and can't do. And these kids are they're suffering with it. I mean, they had to spend a year out of school, almost a year and a half out here in Arizona, out of school. And you're a teacher, you've been doing all the online school stuff. And it's like, it's so hard for them to, get funding for anything. And here's the situation where you can use their phones, their connections, their mom and dad's business friends that they usually would lug in the catalog, pick what you want. Johnny's gotta sell popcorn again, pick what you want. It's just like, hey, is it cool if I give your cell phone to my son? He's gonna text you a link to donate. Hell yeah, that makes it easier on me. I don't have to worry about delivering popcorn and crap. Cool. So again, that's why I'm involved with Redline, because I think the heart, the soul, the ability to just focus on the teams and getting the money to the teams as fast as possible is just clean line, streamlined. And it's really, when I met Darren and Locke, the heart behind it is really, like they said, they've been in this business a long time. They've seen a lot of what has gone wrong, people taking advantage of these situations, and certain organizations, competitors, taking the information, capturing it and reselling it. And they have no heart on doing that. They don't want to do that. They want to just help the kids and make sure these programs stay afloat, as well as they can profit more than they usually do from things, and get more money to these programs, so then they can actually add to their numbers and not decrease numbers and not cut programs in schools, because music, sports, theater, they all are the first to get hit. Club stuff gets hit when budgets come down.
I have one sample that I kind of wanted to share with you guys. Sure. One thing that we're doing, my business partner is in Vegas, and we've we've probably ran over 100 events in 2 months there. People just need money big time. We've got one school. Well, it's not just one, but I'm going to give you this sample of a school. It's about a 60% free lunch, which is a poor school. Every public school has a free lunch percentage. And we got into that school, and I'm going to give you some numbers, but I don't know the exact numbers, what it would be, but we're going to raise over $100,000 in this school. And without our platform, if they were to go do car washes and the traditional thing, I would guess that they would not combined. We're going to probably run 15 to 20 programs there. We're going to go over $100,000 that we'll raise for those programs. And I would guess that without us, they couldn't raise, they probably couldn't get to 20,000. So that kind of gives you a sample. And the cool thing about it, what we're doing now is we're going to have some more programs like this. But we're right now in that school. As soon as when we raise 100,000 combined with different programs, we're going to start doing some scholarship stuff. So we're going to do a female scholarship, a male scholarship. Call it whatever, 500 here, 1,000 here. We're going to do a lot of that stuff. So then, schools will kind of like game plan and say, hey, look, this company, they're here for us. If we do this, they're going to give back to us. So there's a lot of cool things we're doing. I'm excited about it. And I'm really excited to have you guys, kind of on our team. It's fun to have, to get to, when you start putting people with good resumes and people that have done a lot of things, and you start putting heads together, I mean, it just makes it, it's going to make us a bigger and better company.
For sure. And I would tell everybody out there, Redline Fundraising is, as Darren said, it's expanding, hopefully into every state here in the very near future, as quick as you can. Darren, if I could, before we let you get off, I know that we touched obviously about all the good that you're doing for student athletes.
Yes.
But I would love to talk a little bit about your background as a baseball player. We talked a little bit before we started. Lewis Clark State Baseball World Series. David Turner has the longest resume in the world. He boasts about himself all the time. I would love for you to just boast about your athletic accomplishments.
Well,
specifically
my resume does not look like David's. I've been bragging on him for a week, so I love it. But I mean, I've never worked for anybody, so I've owned my own business. I was in the construction business for a long time. I was in direct marketing sales for a long time. I basically, my baseball career, unfortunately didn't go on after college, but I always tell people I went to college to play baseball for 3 years, and I'm 4 years away from a degree. So I'm not the smart guy. I'm just the go-getter that, just got work ethic. And so, I was fortunate enough to win a World Series. I'm an old guy, 1989. Our big claim to fame was we swept Wichita State same year in a tournament, and they were the Division I champions. So, it's just it was a great experience. I'll never forget it. The guy that coached me at the time, I couldn't stand him. I always tell people he made Bobby Knight look like a saint, but he's won about 14 World Series. So, he knew what he was doing, and he got the most out of me. And I appreciate looking back on it. It's kind of basically molded who I am and the work ethic. I know how to win. And I always tell people when I get in front of kids, I don't like to lose. So let's get this, done. That's my, kind of my big go-to. So that's kind of it. I've done a lot in business, owned a construction company, and just been, I told David the other day, I said, it kind of just finally for the first time, I feel like I'm where I need to be. It's not just about me. We're going to make a lot of money for a lot of student athletes, and that's exciting to me.
That's fantastic, and I just hope that coach didn't throw a chair at you or anything. So,
well, he did some things similar to that, but we won't get into that. It's for
I imagine
time.
There's some flying baseballs.
Absolutely.
And then maybe the last thing I want to talk about real quick is I know that I mentioned it a little bit. Nephew, a part of the Washington State track and field team.
Yes.
And it sounded like he had some intentions on playing for the football team. Obviously, Coach Rolovich now obviously has been let go of his responsibilities. Just if you could give us a little insight, not into so much about, the whole issue, but maybe just seeing it through your nephew's eyes for a second and the craziness over at Washington State right now.
Well, yeah, I've been on the phone with him a couple times in the last 20 hours. I just feel for him. I mean, he's excited. He made the track team. Didn't know that he was even going to run track. Loves his track coach. So he's a track guy, and always though, he went to a camp, but because of COVID, he doesn't have a lot of film. He's very, very good. He's very, very fast. Went to a camp and ran the fastest 40 time out of 250 kids in UNLV this August. Or no, it was in June. Sorry. And so got a bunch of looks there, and then didn't get any offers because of the whole game with, the college world is just all crunched up with more athletes than what they need. So went over there and then got a meeting with track, and so he walked on, and he's not getting any money, but he's made the team, and they've just been really good to him. And at one point, they said the football team basically had told him, hey, we want you, we just can't have you this year, so he kind of had an invitation to maybe play there. So yeah, it's just another. I just feel bad because it's just another hit on these kids. These kids, I can't imagine being in the shoes they've been in the last 3 years. I mean, his senior year, he plays in 5 football games instead of 8, 9, 10, whatever it would have been. So it's just one blow after another. And so I was sharing with David, and David was like, hey, we'll do whatever we can on David's with his background. We'll try to help, if that's the route he wants to go. But at this point, it's kind of exciting because he's got a track. He's got a track career if he wants it, and there's nothing wrong with that. So
absolutely not.
What really got me about the story is more of, here's a kid again. COVID hits, and he's now unable to play football to get all the tape he needs, and we know how important that is to get into college. And then the second part of it is like, okay, he gets into college, he goes there to run track, but he has meetings with the football coach. And the football coach, man, I loved you at the UNLV thing. I just don't have room for you because, again, we didn't graduate that many seniors like we thought we would and we usually do. Can you just come? And again, we can't give you any money, but come. But next year, we'll have a spot and we'll make sure we reserve it for you, and you're an in-state tuition. Like, it all lined up and looked good for him. And now, as you and I will dive a little bit deeper in later, the coach gets let go, and like Darren said, the last 20 hours, the kid's like, well, I had all these plans. I had these promises. Like, what am I going to do now? And I was like, man, it's so crazy that we had already booked Darren to be on the show tonight. And then to learn about what was going on there. And then you and I were talking about it later about the coach and everything. So I was like, man, let's tell this personal story because we like to bring the business side to everything. But here's really a personal story, how the business decisions affect this one kid who's 18 years old and just looking to live out his childhood dreams of playing, football at the next level. And he thought he maximized his opportunity at the UNLV camp to get that opportunity at WSU. And now the business decision of letting the coach go is going to affect this kid where he might need to transfer somewhere else to capture that dream again.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a crazy story. I know we're going to get into Nick Rolovich and obviously the unfortunate circumstances around the Washington State program. But Darren, really appreciate you for jumping on with us again. Darren Brewer, CEO of Redline Fundraising. Darren, if you want to take a second to tell where we can find obviously the company, all that good stuff. Really appreciate you hopping on.
Definitely. Thanks for having me, you guys. One last quick story.
Sure.
I want to tell you about our best baseball team last spring. One of the best teams in Nevada. I won't name names, but 52 kids raised over $40,000. What's really exciting is I showed up at 5 o'clock. I left at 5:15, and they were over $21,000. So that's how fast it can happen. That's kind of what's cool about what we do. And I'll tell you something. When I left there, you want to talk about some fired up kids. I mean, that was like winning game 1, and they hadn't even played yet. So it really, truly can be a team building thing. it's something that's just, I mean, I'm so excited. I can't stand it. But as far as, where do we go? We don't have a lot of web preference right now out there. But, my numbers, I'm going to get, Darren at redlinefundraising.com. My cell phone number is 360-421-5793. We're in the process of doing some different website changes. And, because of some competition, we're kind of dragging our feet a little bit. And we're more of kind of boots on ground. We're not really advertising. We're basically referral, more of a referral business. Some of our reps do not even call on coaches anymore. They're just, the phone rings because of the success that we're having. So I appreciate you guys. David, did I leave anything out that, on us, on Redline, that you wanted to add? I don't know. I mean,
no, I think Redline has, again, incredible growth potential, and we're going to see it here in the next few months. And anybody who didn't capture, Darren's contact information, obviously use all the MAV information. Contact me, contact Ryan. We'll get you linked up with Darren. And that's the beautiful thing about this. The technology's out front, so the benefits are out front, and they're boots on the ground. This is a mom and pop shop. And again, it's we got the CEO here on right here. I mean, you're hearing it from the man himself who developed this technology and why he did it. So I think that covers everything for tonight. And again, if you need to know more about Redline, just contact Ryan, myself. We'll get you in contact with Darren and the company. If you really, and again, they're open in 6 states, but they can fly in anywhere. They can do anything across the country. They can even go international. I mean, their business licenses are all lined up. So if you didn't hear your state lined up today and you're in Texas or Pennsylvania or, god awful New Jersey, just kidding, just giving Ryan crap. Let us know. We'll get, Darren, we'll get everything to Darren. Darren will get somebody there, boots on ground, and they'll make it happen for your program. Don't be limited by, thinking, oh, they're not here, we haven't heard of them. Reach out, because Darren is the kind of man that will get on a plane and make it happen for your program.
Absolutely. All right.
I love that. I think it's a great way to end this. Darren, we'll definitely have to have you back on again to see the growth in the future. But thank you so much for taking a little bit of time with us tonight.
Appreciate it. So it means a lot. Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Have a good night.
You too. All right, well, David, it's a perfect segue from Darren. I don't even know if he knew that he did this, but he gave us the final story that was about a baseball team in Nevada that had raised a ton of money. And our next guest is actually from the University of Nevada and Reno. So,
well, they also, hold on, Darren lives in Reno, and his daughter played softball at UNR. So we didn't get into that because we were kind of running long, and I knew we had the player coming on, right? So I was like, well, Cole's probably waiting, and I don't want to do that to him. But Darren literally lives in Reno, and his daughter plays softball at Reno. So
So we are going to welcome on in just a second Nevada pass catcher, tight end, wide receiver, whatever you want to call him. He runs in the air raid system over there. All Mountain West first team selection 2020. 34 receptions, over 400 yards, and 4 touchdowns already this season after going for over 600. Before we do, I just want to let you know, if you are a parent of a high school athlete trying to make it to the next level, try to secure coaching from an expert to figure out what the best steps here. And here at Maverick Sports Consulting, we work with high school athletes of all sports to create a strategy for the recruiting process with limited scholarships given each year. Having a pointed recruiting plan helps our clients secure their opportunity to play collegiate sports. We focus on your transcripts, film, leadership. I just realized that I already read that, so I'm going to go into a different one where I say, have you secured any sponsorships with your name, image, and likeness yet? No. What's keeping you from earning money or gaining products today? Probably access to companies. Maverick Sports Consulting can connect those dots for you. We believe in the power of athletes making a living off of their own likeness while going to college. If it's simply that you don't have access to companies, don't let that keep you from being successful. Contact us at Maverick Sports Consulting so we can help you navigate your path to gaining corporate sponsorships for your collegiate career. As athletes, earning potential is unlimited. Why wait until tomorrow to start earning today? It doesn't matter what sport you play. We help all of our clients achieve their goals. Just contact us at Maverick Sports Consulting. TikTok, the clock is ticking. David, you were going to say, hey, man, you're doing the wrong read there. Anyway.
I was just letting you go double. I was like, anyway, we can, we're all about helping people. So it doesn't matter what package they pick, whether it's the film, the scouting package, whatever it is. We're always going to help them out. So, I was like, oh, he wants to read the same one twice? Cool. Let's just double plug it.
I wanted you to help me not be an idiot, but you didn't allow that to happen. But
I enjoy when you're an idiot. So
one of the best tight ends in all of college football and in the 2022 NFL draft prospect as well. Welcoming on Cole Turner, who I've actually had the fortune of talking to in the past when he was having his breakout season this past year in 2020. Cole's fresh off of a 12-catch, 175 performance in their 34-17 victory over Hawaii. Cole, how's it going, brother? I know it's been a little bit.
I'm doing well. It's good to hear from you again.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, Cole, I saw the stat line this past weekend, right? So I was like, dude, I need to hit Cole up because I know you were having a couple nice games. I know you just had 2 touchdowns the week prior, but I'm like, this performance obviously is going to start turning some heads. And I think that you're one of the best tight ends in all of college football, obviously playing out there with Carson, Romeo, all those boys. Take me through, though, Cole. I'm going to go to the Hawaii game, of course. 34-17 victory. You guys are on a nice roll, 5-1 to start the season. Schematically, when you were getting ready for the Hawaii game specifically, did you have a feeling that you were going to have this big of a game? Was there something about the defense schematically that you looked at and said, this is a lot of opportunity for me?
No, yeah. I mean, I thought that I would get a few more opportunities than usual, but obviously not to the extent that it happened. But I mean, that's usually how the game goes. You game plan and, you game plan for everyone to get their opportunities and kind of how the game's going. Who's ever is doing well, if they kind of keep, the ball keeps finding your hands. So I got pretty lucky that Carson kept trusting me and feeding me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, second year as a headliner for the team, I imagine a lot of people key on you because you're flying up the draft charts with all the hype that I'm hearing about you. What has been the biggest improvement in your game from last season to this season?
Yeah, I feel like from this season to last season, I feel I'm a lot more confident being in line as a blocker. I feel like I show a lot more of that this year on film. I mean, I didn't have too much of that last year. I think, I caught a lot of passes and stuff, and I still do that as well. But I feel like just out of different formations and kind of showing my versatility off a little more, I feel like is what I've shown more this year.
And Cole, I know I've kind of given David a little bit of the skinny on you. I know he's seen you obviously, play at Nevada a few times at this point, but obviously the wide receiver background, getting a little bigger, playing kind of that big slot role. It's awesome to hear that you're kind of getting more opportunities in the run game because you obviously have the 6'6", 240 plus pound frame. How do you feel like the maturation of your physical perspective? Because I saw you obviously this past game and a couple games this season. You look a lot bigger. How is it kind of just the weight gain and physical maturity been?
Yeah, I mean, I still feel like I was still growing into my body until this year. I feel, fully confident, more of just moving around, honestly, on the field and just becoming more comfortable with the ball in my hands and doing stuff after the catch and kind of just running routes in general. I made a transition from receiver to tight end, like you said, so it is a little bit of a different position and kind of a different mindset on the game. So I just feel, I'm still only in my second year, but it's a big jump. Having also this year, we didn't have all the COVID stuff, so I got to spend a lot more time with my coaches and, spend a little more time in person watching film and a little more extra work. So I think all that helped out.
And I'll tell you, David is already super jealous of you, Cole, because he's looking at your hair right now and he's like, man, I wish I could pull something like that off. And he's also, I know he's going to rip on me in a couple minutes because he knows, I mean, and I've talked to you about this before. I'm a huge fan of obviously your quarterback, Carson Strong. I think that he has the potential to maybe go first overall this year if everything goes right for him, all-star game, all that type of stuff. I want to ask you about the connection that you guys have. Obviously, you're roommates. You've played together for a few years. Second year, obviously, with a big role. Talk to me a little bit about the connection with Carson and how that has kind of expanded over the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, Carson's my boy, like off the field. So, I mean, it's not hard to play with a guy, that you're good friends with. So, I mean, it definitely translates on the field. We see the game very similar. We spend a lot of time watching film together, so we kind of know what we're going to get into going into the game. We've been like you said, playing a big role together for 2 years, but in reality, we've been throwing the ball together for almost 5 years, 4.5 years now. So, I mean, it's all just it's just time and repetition and spending so much time and effort together that to the point where it feels second nature when you're out there.
And obviously, I love Coach Mummy and what he's done offensively over there. And I know that you guys, I know you're also roommate, or at least you were roommates with Romeo as well. Obviously, he's a
Yeah, I
fantastic
still am.
receiver. And you got Cooks. There's a lot of great, just pass catchers in this offense in general. Question for that group in general, Cole. How special is that group? Because I'm just watching everywhere, man. I feel like you guys have 5 to 6 guys that can take the top off the defense at any point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we feel that way too. We feel like we got, like down the line, we just have game changers in general. So, I mean, if you look at our stat book over, the whole season, we have different guys that are leading receiving every single game. So, I mean, I feel like we're just a really deep group. We're also a very confident group in what we can do and how we can change the game. And we want to be, we have a great quarterback too that knows how to give us the ball, luckily. So, it's a really good connection, and the O line does a good job we don't give up too many sacks as well. So it's really that's the whole offense in general. So we're really lucky to be playing such a good system as well with, like you said, with Coach Mummy. He finds different ways to get everyone the ball and get everyone opportunities. So I think honestly, as a whole offense, we're just kind of catching our stride these past couple games. So hopefully we can keep ascending, and that's the goal, to hopefully play in a conference championship game.
And I can't forget about the running backs. And of course, you just mentioned the offensive line, Aaron Frost and the crew, man. Like, there's talent everywhere. I'm just so excited about what you guys are able to accomplish this year. I'm really pumped up about it. I'm sorry, David. I just keep cutting you off, man. This is the fun one for me. I'm sorry.
No, I knew you were gonna blow him off like a fish over here, because that's just how you are. I mean, when it comes to the Nevada football team, this guy won't shut up. It's like, he's your biggest cheerleader. You should have a skirt on and pom poms. But sitting at 5-1 after this 34-17 victory over Hawaii, what are some goals for you down the stretch and for the team? Like, what are some things that you're like, I only have a few more games to accomplish. So what are some of these season-long goals you've set for yourself? You've already mentioned, as a team, you guys want to play in the conference championship and do all that. But what are maybe some goals that we're not aware of that you're able to share with us that, you're still looking to go personally and for the team?
Yeah, I mean, as a team, we want to win the conference. Like I said earlier, that's the biggest goal, I think, on everyone's mind. Before anything individually, just because our at Nevada, they've never won a conference championship in the Mountain West, only in the WAC. So I think that would be something really cool, and then hopefully go to the LA Bowl, or maybe even sneak into a New Year's six game. You never know what's going to happen in college football, so that would be really sweet as well. That's something that we're all looking forward to. And then, hopefully I want to play in the Reese Senior Bowl. That's a big goal of mine, I would say. And then hopefully be able to make it to the combine and kind of show what I can do.
Yeah. And Cole, I really want to touch briefly on the kind of that draft journey for a second, because I know obviously I'm going to be bugging you during the draft process to get another interview. You already know that's going to happen. Shut up, David. It's going to happen. And David, I'm just happy. I hit Cole up last season. He was having a breakout year, but I'm like, that dude's an NFLer. Like, you can look at him and you can just see it, right? Like, I'm going to take a little claim here to say that I was early on Cole Turner. And now I'm looking at this, Cole, and you're on every watch list. You mentioned the Senior Bowl. You're on the East West, which is playing their games. They're playing this year in Nevada as well. Just throw that out there, in Las Vegas as well. You're on every watch list. You're getting a lot of notoriety. A lot of draft guys are talking about you. How cool is it just to, take a step back from the season a little bit, just before the season, during the season now, to get that notoriety after, just a couple years ago, you're just a role player, and now you're one of the best pass catchers in college football and getting that type of next level attention.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool, honestly. I've definitely came a long way in my journey. Like you said, like I wasn't one of those guys who was playing as a true freshman. And you don't see a lot of guys from group of five schools or smaller schools that, get the chance to break out over just a couple of years. So I'm really lucky that people have taken notice, and I'm lucky to be around some other great players like you mentioned. So eyes on me always, and that's probably what I'm most proud of is just the journey that I've been on, and it feels like it's just getting started. So I'm excited for what's in the future, but I'm definitely not trying to look past anything in the present at the same time.
Absolutely, man. Well, Cole, we really appreciate you taking a little bit of time with us. You can follow him at King Cole _Turner, capital K, capital C, capital T. Again, man, going to be bugging you one more time during the draft season, but really appreciate you hopping on with us tonight, man. Really do.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, like you said, I think you were the first guy to, hit me up. That was really, that said it, you thought I had what it took to take to the next level besides, outside of family, friends, and, my personal coaches. So I appreciate you noticing that and, just looking out for the whole team in general.
Absolutely, brother. We'll talk to you again very soon, Cole. Thank you so much.
No doubt.
Take care, Cole.
You too.
Man, I really like that guy, David. I'm just on a personal level.
Really couldn't tell.
Oh, man. I just remember because David, you know what's really refreshing to me? This is really
No,
refreshing.
tell me, please tell me.
I'm going to tell you because I hit this kid up last year during his breakout year. Like, it wasn't near the end. It was just in the middle. He had a couple nice games. I'm like, the dude is 6'6", 240 plus and can run a little bit, former wide receiver. And I talked to him, and I don't know if you could tell in there, but I think you could. He's really soft-spoken, man, and he's pretty modest. Like, I don't think he quite understands how good he can be yet, which that for me is pretty rare. Because sometimes you talk to guys and you interview them, and you're just like, this guy's full of themselves, and this guy thinks he's the man. He's too cool for school. I respect Cole because I know that he's a hard worker and that he's not been just given things, He's like one of those grinders. So I'm just going to throw that out on Cole. I know you don't care. I know you're rolling your eyes.
He kind of reminded me of when I was listening to him talk, and it's kind of how Knox, the tight end from the Bills, came out when he first came out. Because
I interviewed him too. He was a freak athlete coming out of Ole
freak
Miss.
Athlete. Never really. I don't think he had a touchdown pass in college.
Nope.
And so he was just something that someone took a shot on. This, obviously Cole's going to be more of a proven product because of everything he's done. But I'm sure somebody will knock him, like he said, he had to work on his blocking and this and that. So someone's going to come up with a hole or two on why they didn't have him up higher and all this stuff, because that's what scouts do to cover their ass. But, for me, listening to him talk and watching the few games I've watched of, obviously Nevada out here in, out here in Arizona, I get to watch those games. I see a guy like Knox, like that style of player that he could really grow into at the next level.
Yeah, and he's a guy that I'm told is going to test really well at 6'6", 240 plus, and he's a guy that in this air raid system has been asked to play big slot, in line a little bit. It sounds like he's doing a little bit more this year, but they put him out wide, David. Like they run by like 3x1 sets or three or whatever. They isolate him backside and let him work against cornerbacks too on the backside, use his size. So really talented football player. I'm excited for him and the rest of the Nevada offense, but I'm really excited for him on the all-star circuit as well because I'm really looking forward to seeing him as a mismatch weapon. So last segment we want to talked about it a little bit with Darren. Nick Rolovich. I'm going to roll through this. You like that pun there for a second? Rolovich, roll through. I'm going to roll through the timeline here of the resignation or the termination of Nick Rolovich. So if we go back to July 21st, David, during the summer, he announced that he will not receive the COVID-19 vaccine and will only participate at that time, the Pac-12 Media Day, remotely. So he would not be there in person. Then fast forward a week after that, he spoke at the media day and he talked about it being an individual's choice to not receive the vaccine, which I know we both don't agree with, but okay, that's his prerogative. That's his choice. I am going to sit back, whatever. October 9th, now flash forwarding 10 days ago, USA Today reports that Rolovich asked for religious exemption to Washington vaccine mandate for state employees. And Rolovich confirmed that himself. So he asked for an exemption due to his religious beliefs. October 16th, which was just 3 days ago, after beating Stanford, Rolovich said, I don't think this is in my hands when asked if he coached his last game at Washington State. So obviously the writing was on the wall after this game against Stanford. Yesterday, October 18th, Washington vaccine mandate for state employees went fully into effect. And on the same day, Washington State University fires Coach Nick Rolovich on the day that the mandate kicked in. So, David, we've texted about this briefly, but not really gone in depth about it. We went and talked to Darren a little bit about it. Let's open it up here. Last 10 minutes or so of this. Your thoughts on the termination of Nick Rolovich according to the not following the mandate of having the vaccine and going against it.
Well, again, it's not just a university mandate; it's an entire state mandate.
Right.
So people have to understand that. Before, what I've seen a little bit of people jumping on the university. It's like, listen, it's a governor's mandate that all state employees, which Washington State University, they're all state employees. So how can you give an exemption to the football coach and not exemption to others? And from what I understand, and I don't know this man. Let's just put this out. Like, I've had a lot of interaction with a lot of coaches and stuff, so I could be in depth a little bit more, but I don't know this man.
Yeah.
But the word I've gotten is that asking for the religious exemption wasn't so qualified for him. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha.
And also they also let 4 other coaches go. It wasn't just him. And in total, 5 coaches got let go. Now, I don't understand this as a business decision, and I know we got some far righters that are going to jump on us. Cool. Let's debate. I'm always about it. Okay. But you say it shouldn't be a mandate. They shouldn't be able to mandate. We mandate as a society, vaccinations get put into our children to go to school.
Right.
We mandate that to go on certain trips for our college kids to go on the abroad trips or go study abroad. They get vaccinations for diseases that they might experience in other countries.
Can I put something in real quick? To add to the mandate, just to add to what you're saying.
Night.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm just putting this out there because I think I'm going to forget it. I was mandated to get the whooping cough vaccine before my daughter was born, so I could even see my own daughter. So just putting that in to continue your thought. Go ahead. Sorry.
We mandate all the time. You're mandated to wear a motorcycle helmet in certain states. You're mandated to wear a seatbelt in everywhere. You follow the guidelines on the freaking speed limit. Like, this is all things that we are told and asked to do in our lives that most of us don't want to do. I don't want to drive 35 down the road. Okay? But if I don't, I get a speeding ticket. There's a consequence. I have a choice to drive 35 or not drive 35. It's a choice. And if I choose to speed, I get a ticket. You were mandated to take a vaccine as a state employee.
Yep.
You knew this was coming. Mm-hmm. They were upfront and honest with you about what was going to happen. So why didn't you just resign before? Right. Why are you making these young men go through the season with you starting the season as their coach when you knew how it was going to end?
Right. Because it was only going to go to October 18th. Like what was going to happen at this point?
Like that was known before the kickoff of the season.
Right.
So why did you start this journey? You knew you were you never intended to finish, because to finish it, you had to receive a vaccine. And I'm not telling anybody to go get the vaccine. Do what the fuck you want. I don't care. I prefer you all get vaccinated, and I've had plenty of time on my show to tell you why, and I try to put and lay it out for you. But if you don't want to listen, whatever. Do what the hell you want. But understand the consequences of not following this because of it's a business and state mandate. You got to go work somewhere else. And unfortunately, in college sports, there's a mentality of going to work somewhere. If you didn't follow the rules over there, how am I going to trust you to follow the rules over here? If you broke the rules over there, how can I trust you to not break the rules over here? So it's going to be very hard for him to get a job. He might need to sit 2-3 years out until this whole COVID thing hopefully dies down. But with that being said, it's going to be hard for him to get a job because he wasn't a team player and just, do what was asked of him, which is get a vaccine. And I guarantee you, if you look at his vaccine card from a kid, he was vaccinated by his parents. There wasn't a religious belief beforehand why he didn't have vaccine. Now there are religious people out there. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
They don't vaccinate their kids. From a young age, they have cards that say, hey, I am religiously obligated. I'm not going to take vaccines. And those kids are still allowed to go to school. And there are deep-rooted religious beliefs. And I support those. I'm an American. I want everybody to have a choice. Cool. But I also support businesses. And a business has a right to put policies and procedures into place to protect themselves, their liability, and the other workers in that workplace. And here in the University of Washington, at WSU, that company, that institution, put into place the governor and the school a mandate to get vaccinated. And you failed these young men by starting the season knowing that this was going to happen. And now you got to walk off the job and be forced out of your job instead of being a man and just saying, you know what? I'm not going to get vaccinated, so I'm not going to start the season because I know I can't finish it.
Right.
And that's the same mentality I talked about when those kids last year played a couple games and then they quit and they said, I'm done. I'm just going to go train for the NFL draft. I said the same thing. I would prefer them never to step on the field and start something with their teammates that they knew they were never going to finish. And this is the same thing with this coach. You knew you weren't going to comply to that mandate. So why did you start something you weren't going to finish and put promises to these kids? And then guys like, Darren's nephew, you made him believe he had a spot on the team. And so he goes there to school and he makes a decision where he had other options.
Yeah.
And now that kid is out of an opportunity because you didn't want to take a shot.
I'm curious on what the timeline is as far as like when he put in to have the exemption for the religious, because it's speculation. And I don't want to question his religious background and his beliefs because I don't know him. You mentioned that as well. Like, I don't know him personally. I will say, though, is if he is using that completely as a crutch and a way to get around his belief to not have the vaccine, then that's wrong. Like, that's just flat out wrong. Because now you are using religion and lack thereof potentially as a misguided form to get you out of something. And that is wrong. That is deeply wrong because, like you said, there are people that take that very seriously and that are deeply religious. And if they are, more power to them. I probably do not believe the same thing that you believe, but I respect that people have their own beliefs in that environment. So, like, if you use that completely out of pure like manipulation, then that is awful. But I would like to know when he first made this attempt, because it came out October 9th that it had been something that he had appealed. And I agree with you completely, David. And my biggest takeaway from this is, where is the foresight here? Like, what did you think was going to happen? Especially, I hope that it wasn't like in October. He's like, this isn't blowing over, Like, this isn't going to be a thing. Now I'm going to make this religious exemption, and I'm going to hope it all works out for me. And I put my players in a terrible situation because now they have to deal with, I'm sure it's an interim basis, obviously, for a coach on the staff. They were told things leading up to the season, and I mean, can you think about the freshmen that were recruited there? You mentioned like Darren's nephew, who was a player that may have been on the team next year. What about this freshman class that just came in? That's like, this guy was in their living rooms a few months ago, like selling to their family, like, this is what I'm going to give to you. I'm going to be here for the next 4 to 5 years, and I'm going to help your kid grow and be great young men and blah, 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 blah. I mean, you failed them. You failed them. You failed your team. And I think that this is a little... Again, it's a choice, so I'm not going to be as harsh as I possibly can on this, but like it's selfish. It is a selfish thing that you did, and your opinions and your beliefs ended up being more important than the 100 men that you lead every day. So that's where my biggest quarrel is with it.
And I'm with you on this. You're given a leadership position.
Yes.
And we talked about leadership positions last week with Gruden and Spanky down there at Jacksonville. And
Spanky? Called him Spanky. All right, go ahead.
And now we're talking about another leadership position.
Yep.
And again, if your beliefs keep you from taking the shot and being vaccinated, I'm not condemning you. Like, I get it. You have strong beliefs, do it. My problem is you entered the season knowing you were not going to see it through.
Yes.
And again, sitting in those living rooms telling those kids he was fully intended to live it out. I get it. They didn't put this mandate into place until June, July?
Something like that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So again, he recruited everybody there. He said the best he could do. But by the time they kicked off season, he knew this mandate was in place.
Yeah, it's not like it just popped up like a week ago. Like,
yeah, it did just pop up on them.
Yeah.
They said you have 6 weeks to get comply or not.
Right.
Or 7 or 8, I think it was, actually, just to be honest.
Yeah.
So they gave him like 2 months to comply.
Yep.
And he knew he wasn't gonna do it. Now you got a season, instead of stepping away, letting the interim tag come in and run the season for him and just say, you know what, this is what's better for the team because I'm not going to be here at the end of the season. Like, that's a leader. That's accountability. Not, I'm going to enter into this and I'm going to try for a religious exemption. And if they don't give it to me, well, then they'll have to fire me.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's not it. It's like you should have settled, have your house in order before the season starts. I'm sure if you went to the administration as a head football coach and said, listen, I'm not taking the shot. I'm going to, ask for a religious exemption. Will you give it to me? Tell me before the season, because I don't want to do this to the players. I don't want to start the season if you're not going to give it to me. But they're going to twiddle their thumbs. They're not going to twiddle their thumbs. They're going to be like, well, we need to tell them because, if we're not going to give him the exemption, he's got to move on, and we're going to let him move on because it's something that the state mandate's going to force us to make him move on, So I don't get it. I don't understand it. I really don't. And I don't understand people getting the face vaccine cards to continue to keep their jobs. Like, I don't get it. Go work somewhere else. Go find some other place that will employ you without the vaccine. It's America. You have a choice to work wherever the hell you want. Put your applications into places that aren't mandating the vaccine.
Yeah.
Now, they might not pay you as much. They might not be exactly what you want. But if this belief is so powerful that you won't take the vaccine, then make the choice to walk away from your job and go find one that doesn't demand it. Don't go get a fake card and make people think that you're vaccinated. Don't claim a religious exemption and not really believe in religion, because all that is bastardizing the people that actually do it, and actually believe this stuff, and I don't want to walk in somewhere with my vaccination card and then somebody walking behind me with one they bought, and now we're all, and again, they could be carrying the variant, which a friend of mine in Georgia got, and this is her 3rd week struggling with it. Now she's not in the hospital, she's not ventilated, but she's still struggling with it. And it's like, I don't want to be sitting at a table thinking you're vaccinated and you're not.
Right.
Like, don't lie. And that's my thing. It's like leadership positions and management positions need to have more character and integrity than what we're seeing. Right now, it's all about beat the system. And those people used to be low character people that never got hired in these leadership positions because it wasn't about beat the system. Lead the right way. Gettleman always said, win, but how you win is important.
Sure. And I don't know if it's ironic, but 2 days before he was terminated, they actually just had beaten Stanford in a pretty nice win for Washington State. and I don't want to say funny, but a very ironic sentiment that he left the reporters with was he said, when asked if it was his last game, because the mandate was upon us, I don't think this is in my hands. Coach, I think this was in your hands, sir. Actually, this was something that you could have prevented, or this was something that you probably should have handled a lot differently. So, a lot of conversation, a lot of layers to the termination of head coach Nick Rolovich from Washington State. Want to thank Mr. Cole Turner for hopping on, of course, star tight end out of Nevada. Also want to thank, of course, Darren Brewer, CEO of Redline Fundraising, for hopping on with us to talk about his business venture and a little bit of the sports world. Make sure, we really appreciate it. I'm going to throw it over to David Turner for a final shot in a second, but we would truly appreciate a share. If you're on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher, a subscription and a rating. If you want to give us a review, we would absolutely adore you all forever and ever and ever. Would appreciate it as we continue to grow Mavs Sports Take, now in episode 62. Thank everybody that followed along in Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook, wherever you tuned into the show live tonight. We really do appreciate you. Kicking it over to David Turner. Final thought of the night. What are you leaving us with, my friend?
When we talk about leadership a lot the last couple of weeks, when we talk about not doing things the right way, let's talk about doing things the right fucking way. LSU and Coach O. Let's talk about doing things the right fucking way. Okay? Coach O, before the last game, he knew he was going in against Florida, back against the wall. His players were like all upset, and he told his players, he stood up in front of his players, said, "You play this game, I'm going to be all right. Whatever happens, I'll be all right. Don't use me as motivation. Don't use me as the rallying cry. This is your season. This is about you. You win this game for you, not for me."
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the game, next day, comes out, Coach O is going to be allowed to coach the rest of the season, but this is it for him. And LSU is doing a classy thing by not firing him, not moving ahead in the search right away, not scrambling to get him off campus and, have security get his boxes for him. No. Class, dignity, style. LSU said, "You finish your season, coach. We let you start it. You finish it. But at the end, you're done." And you know what? That's going out with dignity. That's going out the right way. I got to experience that my second year in the NFL when I worked for the New York Football Giants. With about 5 games to go, they let Coach Fossil know he was going to get fired. Fossil said, "Let me finish what I started." And the Mara family, Wellington Mara, John Mara, they said, "Yep. You finish what you started, but just know you're done at the end." And he said, "Absolutely. Got it." And he went out there and he won a couple more games. And he put the organization in the best position he could at that time. And he walked away with his head high because he got to finish it. He wasn't shown the door in a rough way or on a fucking runway or any of that kind of bullshit that we've seen over the course of these years. Have some class, have some style, give your coach dignity. So the next coach coming in sees how you treated him on his way out. Because what's more important as a player, an employee, or an organization, it's not how you treat me when I'm walking in the door. It's how you treat me when I'm walking out.
Sorry, I thought there was a dramatic pause there. That was fantastic, David Turner. That was wonderful. Very well said. Thank you all again for tuning in tonight. We'll be back same time, same place. Make sure to give us a subscription. Make sure to give us a rate. Make sure to send us a review. We thank you all so much. See you at the same time, same place next week.